Greetings to rainy Sunday morning here in southwest Oklahoma. I got this Scan My Tesla app, so I've done my 100-mile Sunday commute before on YouTube, so this really isn't a new trip for anybody that's watched my videos. But now I got a little bit more information that I can share. So I usually don't have to disengage autopilot for the first 40 miles. So the only time I ever have to disengage is if I have to pass somebody, because I have basic autopilot. I don't have the software enabled to change lanes. So I have to disengage autopilot and change lanes manually. But other than that, there should not be a reason that I'll have to take off autopilot the whole way for 40 miles anyway. So my actual trip is 40 miles to a location, and then 20 more miles driving through a town, and then 40 miles back to my house. So there's those two long stretches that are all autopilot. And to be honest, most of driving through town is autopilot now. I mean, I've gotten comfortable enough with it to let it travel amongst a lot of cars. The only time I would have to take over for it in town would be if I have to turn, or a stoplight where I'm the first vehicle. But other than that, everything seems to be working good. I got my tablet mounted here to the dashboard, so I can see the live information displayed. I'm going to edit that information into the video, as you've already seen, because I know the camera can't pick up the tablet over there. But anyway, here we go. Enjoy the ride. About right there, right in the middle of that green blob. There's where I live, and there's where I'm going. Just a solid blob of green. I do have wax on my windshield, so the wipers really aren't needing to wipe going 70 miles an hour. The auto wipers are on, pretty sure. Yeah. The auto wipers are on, but there's really no need since the wax is just beating it up. So as you can see, the power output from the engines is mostly coming from the rear engine, actually. I would say 95% of the time, your rear engine is the only engine that's on. The only time I've seen the front engine kick in is under acceleration. So it looks like that's how Tesla conserves power, is just running the rear engine most of the time, unless you're under heavy acceleration or possibly high speeds. I don't really speed, so I try not to go over the speed limit because I'm a rule follower. But just traveling 70 down the highway, I'm kind of going downhill now. So 15 to 17,000 watts downhill. I would say there's probably a 10,000 watt swing at least. If I go uphill, it'll probably go up to 30,000 watts at 70 mile an hour. I did a 0 to 60 run yesterday, and just impromptu, and it got up to 350,000 watts. I don't know if I'm going to have to go around this guy. I don't know if that goes up any higher, because my battery was about 80%. So may go up higher. Then it may be 400. I don't know what 100% charge would be. I didn't have to scan my Tesla app the last time I had 100% charge. I guess the auto wipers have decided to battle the rain now. They weren't really needed, but I guess they noticed it and now they're gonna start wiping. I'd like to point out that my trip computer misses the mark pretty big most of the time. Before I left home and I punched in where I was going, it said the round trip I would get back at 64%. Well, I'm about halfway there and I'm already at 74%. There's no way. I probably won't even get there with 64%. It's way off. I was supposed to, I don't know what I was supposed to get there at, but it's like this every time. It's always way off. I think that's because I took off my aero wheel covers. Maybe I'll put them back on for one trip and just see. Autopilot is on. I'm on the entrance ramp here. I'm getting speed up to 70. There we go. Good entrance. Not really supposed to do that, but it does it all the time. Starting to pick up some heavier rain. But it should be smooth sailing for the next 40 miles. All the power is still being generated by the rear motor. I'm pretty sure that's normal. The front motor just kicks in for acceleration and traction control circumstances. The Gesso meter says when I arrive at home I'll be at 41%, but I know that's going to be wrong. It'll be less than that. It always is. Pleasure to pass these guys. They all show up so well. There they go. Here we are 97 miles into my trip, and I was supposed to be home at 41%, and I got about 7 miles left to go, 6.5 miles. So the Gesso meter was wrong this time. That's no surprise. It's wrong a lot in my car because I removed the aero rims, so that uses some of my efficiency. My consumption's pretty much been even. I mean, I've been on cruise control, so. But we're pretty much to the 100 miles. For the last 100 miles, I've used 35 kilowatt hours of battery, and I've averaged 346 watt hours a mile. And that was 80 miles of this, actually, probably 90 miles of this 100 miles has been 70 mile an hour driving. The other 10 miles was probably, town speeds. So stop and go up to maybe 40. So there you have it, 346 watt hours a mile. Use 35 kilowatt hours of juice to go 100 miles. And I hope you enjoyed the Scan My Tesla information. It's really neat to view while you're driving down the road. It gives you a lot of insight into what's going on behind the scenes.